The big question is now we've seen Saad Hariri say he's going to resign. What happens next?
Well, one thing is for sure, Jeannie, and that is that these protesters are not going to give up their fight. They smell blood and they want to push forward. What they basically want is a complete change of the regime in Lebanon. That is for the reasons you can see written up behind me. There is a high youth unemployment rate of 17%, corruption 138 out of 160 countries in the world, slightly better than in neighbouring Iraq, but not much, and the world's third most indebted country, which basically means people are living, many of them, in a hand-to-mouth situation. They don't have enough electricity, they have to buy electrical generators, there are no jobs, and some of them don't have enough food. So they're very angry with the government, and they say we want all these confessional groups to give way to a new technocratic regime. So that is what they're calling for, and that is the problem which is facing the president of Lebanon, Michel Aoun. Now, there are several possibilities. The first one is that he will try to form a technocratic government made up of people not from the different confessions, but there he has to find a prime minister who everyone will agree to nominate. That's no easy task. Second, he could say to Saad Hariri, we want you to stay in office for an interim government until we work out a solution and maybe call new elections. That is a possibility, but Saad Hariri will have no power to try to quell the protesters' demands. Then there is also the possibility of elections. Now, Hezbollah, which is one of the key players in Lebanon, is probably more in favour of elections because it has a strong chance of getting another successful amount of seats in Parliament. It has 3 ministers at the moment, so it may move towards that. And that's why you've seen them clamping down against the protesters, because they want to keep the government in place, because they don't want it to fall. They want it to stay there because they're in a position of power in Lebanon. So at the moment, we're in this situation where we don't know exactly what's going to happen. There is, of course, another situation, and that is the protesters get their way and they get to set up a whole new system in Lebanon. That also, for the moment, looks like a long shot. But whatever is happening on the ground at the moment, it's not going to stop with just the resignation of Saad Hariri, which I think the protesters see as the easy part. Now the more difficult part is still remaining to be done.
Philip, as all of this is happening in Lebanon with these mass protests, these images we see here, in neighboring Iraq, a mass protest movement is happening as well against the government, demands for that government to resign. Are we witnessing a new sort of Arab Spring in the region?
If you cast your mind back to 2011, Jeannie, and all these Arab Spring uprisings that we saw, very few of them have actually managed to end up with a new regime in control, which is more free and fair concerning the young people who are eager for change. 60% of the young people in Lebanon are under the age of 30, and they say they've got no future, and that's why they're taking to the streets. If you look at what happened, for example, in Libya, there's now a very unstable situation. There was the war in Syria, there's a war in Yemen, there is a police state in control in Egypt. I think many of these young people are saying, well, look, what we want is change. We didn't get it in 2011. We still want change now. So that's why we're back on the streets. And there are changes being fought for all over the world, even as far away as Hong Kong. And that's why we have really nothing to lose. That's why we want change at top government level.
Philip, thank you for that. France 24's Philip Terrell.